Roy C. Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Marty Van Ravensway, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3. J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4. Constitutes a quorum.
I heard it's here, but it was a very distant here.
Very distant. And JD's here.
Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Reverend Max Brennan from Senior Pastor at St. Matthew United Methodist Church in Fort Worth. Max, thank you for coming out this morning. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we are before you now, and this is our invitation. Let your Spirit abide over the proceedings of this court. Lead it in your wisdom. Let judgments be thoughtful, meeting the needs of those in this county and upholding those bonds which hold us together as a community. Spirit of God, let your will be done in the work of this court. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thanks again, Max, for coming out today. Appreciate it. Agenda announcements. Jay, Mr. Singleton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
I have a few announcements for you today. Item number under purchasing 8J5, RFP 2010-111. We're going to pull off the agenda today and see that at a future meeting. Also on page 7 of your agenda, in your red folders, you will see a new copy, a revised court communication, and for the item number 1 under transportation, item 8L1, we had to revise one of the ILAs and some of the information in the court communication, but it's ready to go otherwise. Also under briefing, in your red folder, you also should have an item for the 2006 CIP. There are some pictures in your folder that were not in the court book the other day. And also you have an addendum to the claims register. That's all we have.
Thank you. Mr. Manius is attending his son's graduation at Quantico today, so we're excited for him, and I'm sure he'll be back next Tuesday ready to go. You have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of October the 19th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have a couple of presentations, but before we get too deep into that, one of the things I'd like to say is go Rangers. It's been a long time in coming. I know we're very excited. I got a couple of pictures from, in fact, it was Butch and Vicky and them. They ran across Judge Vandergriff out at the ballpark and had a picture with him, and I can't think of anybody more appropriate to be at the ballpark. If it weren't for him, there wouldn't be a ballpark and there wouldn't be a baseball team in Arlington at this time. And so we're all excited about that. And I guess I thought about having us send out an email having this to be Ranger Red Day, but maybe we ought to make tomorrow and Thursday Ranger. Well, you're right. You did pretty good with your red. But maybe we ought to make Wednesday and Thursday Ranger Red Day. Betsy's there. She's coming her red, so there's a few folks.
Betsy.
That's Arkansas. You can't be claiming that that's Ranger Red. You'll be up here in a few minutes gloating over the fact that your Arkansas team played this week.
Neither one of your teams won, did they?
TCU won.
Go Frogs.
Yeah, well, it's been a rough year. The luck finally ran out on the Tigers. So with that, at this time, I'm going to call on Betsy, the president-elect of the Texas Association of Counties, to come up and make a couple of presentations.
Go Rangers.
Go Rangers.
Our Cowboys are letting us down. We have to go elsewhere. Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am to be here this morning and how proud I am of Tarrant County. I am also, as President-elect of TAC, but I'm also Vice Chair of the Leadership Foundation, and this is our 11th year to present Best Practices Awards. And in that time, we've given about 58 total awards, or 60, and of those, Tarrant County has won 15. That's a phenomenal achievement for Tarrant County. And we are looked to at TAC as a leader in all we do, and it's largely because our court sets such a great tone for the rest of us as elected officials. And J.D. will echo that, having served at TAC. Tarrant County is well respected. This morning, though, the Leadership Foundation is charged with recognizing county officials and departments who are in the process of trying to be innovative. People always have a way of saying, we can't do that, we don't have enough money, we can't do this, we can't do that. But the winners of our Best Practice Awards are in the business of saying, we can do this, and how will we do it? And it's innovative projects that come forward and win. When we judged the program this year, we had 2 notebooks this thick. There must have been 250 applications to go through. It took a long time to read them all and go through them, and we only picked 10 winners this year. And Tarrant County is blessed to have 2 of those. And it's just a wonderful honor. And the first one we're going to do is Commissioner Fickus's newsletter, the Northeast newsletter. If you didn't see this month's county magazine, some of you get this. It says, teaming up and reaching out to solve our challenges. And Commissioner Fickus's newsletter does just that. He teamed up, he saw a need to solve a problem, and he reached out to his team in his office and asked them to come up with a way to help educate citizens about what county does. And in keeping with Glenn's initiative at NACO to educate the nation about what county government does, it's a perfect match for Gary's delivery. So we have a quick video for Commissioner Fickus's newsletter, and they're winning for delivery of services.
Established performance standards.
And then calendar, you do.
Tarrant County Commissioner Gary Fickus wanted a way to communicate with residents about the importance of county government and county services. So he gathered his staff and started the Northeast newsletter.
Well, we're going to be starting to talk about our Empowering Seniors event that's coming up in October that Rebecca's doing.
So we're going to feature that.
Yes. We're going to feature that this month.
Fickus said there are many benefits to having a newsletter, which he sends out electronically.
The vast number of people that I run into don't have a clue what a county commissioner does. And I think it's extremely important that they know and understand what we're doing with their money. And we went from initially about 1,000 people to today we think we're hitting close to 10,000. You know, we tried to put things in that we thought would be interesting. We do a question of the month. Then we start focusing on other departments that are in the county and other people that are in the county. So we get a lot of exposure. When this thing goes out, I get a lot of comments back. They say, oh yeah, I saw your such and such article, and well, that's pretty good. And I didn't know that was going on. I didn't know y'all did that. And you know, I didn't know that the county tax assessor was who she is, and that's what she does. And it's just on and on. So we're getting good feedback, and that's very encouraging.
Liked Gary's newsletter because it reaches out across just county lines, and he pulls in the city, the hospital district, and everyone. So today, Carmela Jones from TAC is here to help us present the award for delivery of service to Commissioner Fickus and his team. If the rest of Gary's team would stand.
come on down and get your picture took. Fickus is the only one that might break the camera.
I probably want, doesn't need to be a picture. They go to work. They know. Oh, you're fine, I think. Y'all come get in here. We can move this.
Now, Rebecca, you're going to have to get some other place. You're not going to be seen in that group right there.
know, I'll stand by.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. I want to thank all of our team here, and we've been doing this a little over 2 years. It's just worked out as a great tool for us to keep people informed. So, thank you.
Thank you. I actually was in the Northeast about 2 weeks ago, and I was walking through a grocery store out there going to get something to take to dinner, and a woman said, "I know you." And I said, "You do?" And she said, "I saw your picture in Commissioner Fickus's newsletter." So he will make you either famous or infamous one. In my case, it's probably infamous.
You know, and I will say, it is the initiative this year's national level is to try to raise the public's awareness of what we do. And Gary's, I think, newsletter does, just as it was mentioned up there, an excellent job. But we all need to get out and tell that story to groups of folks and, employees, other elected officials. Go to your Sunday school classes, your civic groups, wherever, and, let them know what county does, because, as Gary mentioned, people don't have a clue as to what county government's about or what we do.
It's true. And the second award that Tarrant County won was for the Strategic Coordination and Policy-Driven Jail Population Control Program. And that's a handful. In 1989, the court recognized that the jail population was overcrowded. They were living one on top of each other, just lots of problems. And so they came together and started working on that. But then in 2000, it was a very loose committee. And in 2000, it was pulled together a little more formally. And then in 2008, Commissioner Johnson, who's on the Jail Standards Committee, asked G.K. Manius, the county administrator, to chair it as a neutral member. The success that this committee has been so successful that TAC is copying it and going to replicate it for other counties. There are no other counties doing anything like this. And when the committee reviewed this, the comments were, how do you get this many people from that many departments in the room without having everybody have their own agenda? And I said, it just works in Tarrant County. Everybody does a good job of doing that. Commissioner Johnson worked on it. GK chairs it. There's an incredible number of people involved in this. And I want to take just a minute to recognize all of our commissioners, Commissioner Brooks, Van Ravensway, the judge, Commissioner Fickus, and Commissioner Johnson, and their administrators. If y'all would stand, come. Of course, county judges, executive administrator Jane, and then the other commissioners, administrators.
Y'all stand up.
Stand up.
Stand up. Don't be bashful.
Our county administrator, G.K. and Jay Singleton. Jay is here. The sheriff's office, I don't believe the sheriff is here. Is Bob here? No? Bob and Dee both work on it. The district attorney's office, Joe Shannon, works on it. County judge, judiciary's court administrator, Clete McAllister, and his staff work on it. Attorney appointment office, Barbara Murphy. Okay. Budget, Debbie, Ms. Snyder. Community development, Patricia Ward. Tarrant County constables, all of the constables are involved in working with this. Pretrial services, Michelle Brown. Our district clerk, Tom Wilder. County clerk, Suzanne Henderson. Our JPs all work on it. The medical examiner's office, Dr. Perwani and his staff. Probation Department, Leighton Isles. Juvenile Services, Randy Turner. And Information Technology, Steve Smith. And of course, one of the main coordinators is Les Smith from GK's office. All of these people were involved in this, and it is a huge undertaking, so I think we need to give them a real quick hand, and we'll present them. those of us who are often here just at Tarrant County don't realize what a phenomenal achievement that is to pull that many people together in a county to work. We do have a quick video for the Innovation Award.
County. After struggling for years to find piecemeal solutions to its jail overcrowding problem, officials in Tarrant County decided to bring everyone to the table for a more system-wide approach to jail population management.
Several years ago, we had over 5,000 prisoners in our jail. And the police chief, we used to hold the Fort Worth prisoners over here. The police chief and the sheriff actually built cages out of cyclone fence to house these prisoners. They were sleeping on the floor. It was a mess. So we had to do something.
The Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee itself used as the central nervous system of the county's criminal justice system. And what's interesting about that is it's not required to be there. There's not anything written about it's supposed to be there. It's something that you develop. And then you try to institutionalize that.
The results of the committee's work have been profound.
With the help of this committee and getting everybody together and getting people to work together, it's been very successful. Now we're down to 3,000-something prisoners.
We're operating at a capacity of about between 70 and 75%. And for a large jail in Texas, that's pretty much unheard of.
The committee consists of the county's criminal justice coordinator, as well as representatives from the Commissioner's Court, the county jail, community development and housing, the district clerk's office, the district attorney's office, the juvenile probation department, district judges, the budget and risk management office, pretrial services, governmental affairs, and others. The committee meets regularly and serves as an opportunity for county leaders from different departments to talk about changes in laws, processes, or local trends that may impact the county's court system. Together, they work on solutions to counteract those changes if necessary.
The success of this committee is that we have got every piece of the criminal justice department together in this room, and people are all working together. It's not a dog-eat-dog. It's not somebody trying to be the hero. It's people working together, and you accomplish what we have accomplished with this committee.
Mr. Johnson, are you going to accept the award, I believe?
Sure, and can we get the whole committee up here?
We can. Can we? Jay, can we push this down?
No, I'm standing right. We're getting back as far as I can. Oh, I can see the camera. JD, you need to get out of the picture. Goes back easier than forward.
Oh, okay.
Thank you all.
Wait, JD's in the way.
Shut everybody off. Well, I just want to thank the TAC Board and the Leadership Foundation for this award. It's for all the people that you saw up here. They work on it on a monthly basis. So thank you very much, and thanks to all the committee members.
And again, we want to thank Betsy. I know you've got a couple of years coming up here that are going to be very busy. We appreciate the leadership you're providing to TAC, and certainly, Commissioner Johnson, we appreciate your past leadership in not only TAC, but also in the Commissioner and Judges Association and the other organizations that you've helped with in that regard. I would move that we receive and file this presentation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Court members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Singleton.
Ms. McMillan will present this item.
Good morning. You have before you today a request to approve an amendment number 1 to the tax abatement agreement with Healthcare Services Corporation, doing business as Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. This, as you may recall, is the tax abatement we did for the construction of a new data facility for Blue Cross Blue Shield in the Alliance Gateway Park. Under the current agreement, Blue Cross Blue Shield was required to spend a minimum of $155 million in construction costs for the real property and install a minimum of $20 million in personal property improvements to the site by April 1st, 2010. Blue Cross has completed construction of the facility, but because of the downturn in the economy, they were actually able to realize cost savings in their construction costs and actually only spent $153.7 million in real property improvements. Those same market conditions have delayed the installation of the personal property to the site, which is ongoing right now and will be completed by December 31st of this year. The amendment you have before you calls for a reduction in the minimum construction costs required for real property improvements from $155 million to $153 million, and it extends the completion deadline for construction and installation of the minimum real and personal property improvements from the April 1st, 2010 deadline to December 31st, 2010. Nothing will change. The abatement will still start in 2011 as it was originally planned for in the original agreement. So we're asking today that Commissioners Court approve this amendment and approve the resolution certifying Tarrant County's agreement to participate in the amendment and authorizing the county judge to execute the amendment.
Move for approval.
Second.
Question.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Brooks.
Was there a requirement for a certain number of jobs? And is that requirement, if it was included in the original agreement, is it going to be met?
Yes, they're already starting to hire right now, and the actual, they'll be starting to put everybody in. It was as of the end of the first year, so when we do the abatement starts next year, so when we get the abatement evaluation following that, they will have met all their hiring requirements as of the end of the first year, as of end of 2011.
Refresh our memory, if you would, and
Sure.
tell us how many jobs.
130 to 150 employees, full-time employees on the site,
With benefits.
with benefits.
Any other questions? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tidwell?
This morning, we have one item. We're asking the court to approve the release of the $50,490,000 of collateral as outlined in your court communication.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Phillips?
Good morning. It is requested that Commissioners Court approve a real property lease with the Mental Health Mental Retardation of Tarrant County for space in the Plaza Building.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
It is requested that Commissioners Court approve the use of the Plaza Building for Afterburners Toastmasters Club to conduct public speaking training for county employees and for county youth, and to use the building for weekly group meetings until October 25th of next year.
This will be in that little auditorium area.
Yes, if not, it'll be on the 5th floor, depending how many participants.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Glenn?
Good morning. We have two items for the court this morning. The first item, we're asking the court to receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item, we're asking the court to approve an out-of-class pay extension for juvenile services. If approved, this extension will end at the end of January of next year. There is no fiscal impact to the general fund.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beecham.
Your Honor, the members of the court, we have 4 items for your consideration this morning, all Juvenile Services Department related. Item number 1 is a bid award recommendation for RFP number 2010-063 for Youth Advocacy Services. Recommendation will be towards the Youth Advocate Programs Incorporated, amount of $750,000. We're seeking contract approval if the court approves this item.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Number 2 is another bid award recommendation for RFP number 2010-069. This is an RFP for the Family Preservation Program. Recommendation will be toward the Lena Pope Home, the amount of $550,000. Again, we're seeking contract approval. This item is approved by the court.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Number 3 is another bid award recommendation for our RFP number 2010-071. This is an RFP for community-based detention services. Recommendation will be again towards the Youth Advocate Programs Incorporated, the amount of $50,000. Again, we're seeking contract approval.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our last item is a bid award recommendation in regards to RFQ number 2010-109. This is request for qualifications for specialized residential placement services. Recommendation will be toward to the various vendors as shown in court communique in the amount of $2,250,000. Again, we're seeking contract approval. The court approves this item.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Lamb. Nope. Mr. Skinner.
Good morning, members of the court. We are requesting your approval of fiscal year 2011 renewal agreements with the cities of Colleyville, Kennedale, Fort Worth, Hearst, Mansfield, North Richland Hills, Hazel, Keller, Saginaw, Grand Prairie, and Grapevine for projects that are included in the 2006 Transportation Bond Program. I would just point out there's one change to the agreement for Lake Ridge Parkway to include Precinct 2 discretionary funds. With that, I'll ask for your approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The next item that we have is a request for your approval of an interlocal agreement with the City of Kennedale related to the extension of Gilman Road. This project also will be funded with Precinct 2 discretionary funds.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any appointments today? There being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items?
Mr. Phillips will brief you on some facilities-related CIP items.
I would like to update the Commissioners Court on the progress of the building projects included in the 2006 Capital Improvement Program. First, the jail. The concrete work is coming out of the hole in the jail project. The second floor concrete should complete in October. The overall concrete superstructure should top out sometime in early February. This is a photo of the construction site. One of the most risky activities in a building project in a downtown environment is having to dig down deep in adjacent streets and connect things.
This doesn't sound like a good beginning.
And we have to dig down deep and build and connect a tunnel between the correction center and the new jail. This tunnel will be 12 foot wide and about 10 foot high. This is a close-up of some fiber optics conduits that were in Burnett Street in the way of the tunnel. These particular conduits were noted, and we knew those conduits were there before we started digging. They actually showed up on the land survey. They showed up in a dig test, and Clarence Presley went so far as for risk management purposes to have some ground-penetrating radar performed to see exactly where they might be, and we found those particular conduits. Now these, also the survey showed an 8-inch water line. What the survey and the ground-penetrating radar and the other stuff did not show is this second set of conduits that you see there. Now, that is what they've been excavating right there last week. What's neat about these conduits and that water line and some other things, we didn't damage any of them.
Those things look like they're still intact. This is a
That's
good...
correct. That's correct. Now, I watched the excavation for a few minutes last week, and I watched the backhoe operator manipulate the backhoe in the large bucket, and he was so careful with that thing, he could have peeled an orange with it. And I would like to thank the backhoe operator with Craig Olden Excavation Company. Most of all, I'd like to thank the building superintendents for Gilbane, Matt Jeffrey, Scott Cope, and John Borman. And I would like to introduce Matt Jeffrey, who's the lead senior superintendent for the project. Matt, you'll have to stand up. Thought we might give Matt a few attaboys today because he's not quite finished with the tunnel yet. He had his goal, his next goal, we have to excavate about 40 to 50 feet on either side of the tunnel on Burnett Street and uncover the fiber optics conduits and try to lift them up over the work of the tunnel. And they think they can do that. And
so this one that was not identified, who is it, AT&T?
It's Alltel. There was three firms that had the rights to these particular conduits.
And how did we just happen upon this without happening upon it in a very bad way?
I watched them, and they were just very, very careful. And when they got close to these conduits and that water line, they came in and had some additional equipment that created a slurry around it, and just they vacuumed up all the clay and mud around it and exposed it all.
So did they determine that there was something there by a piece of equipment that says there's something running under here that we don't have record of?
Well, the piece of equipment was the excavator, was the backhoe, and shovels. That was the equipment. We didn't know that one was there. The others were there with survey.
Are they digging everything that slowly so that they make sure that there's nothing there?
Yes. They have to on this one, Judge, because they've already backfilled that particular photo. They've already gone down several feet, and they've already backfilled in so they can start with a retention system there that they're building now. So they're doing a very good job. We were concerned about all the utilities in that street, and once this tunnel's done, they'll be doing some off-site water utilities and sewer utilities, so it's not over.
So none of these are going to have to be relocated?
Well, we don't think so, Commissioner. We believe they can be lifted up. Once we expose them, they think they can lift them up a few feet, support them while the tunnel gets constructed underneath, and then they can rest them back up on top with some steel supports.
So they'll be above the tunnel?
That's the goal. And the cost for that is about $50,000 to $60,000 to see if we can raise them up. If we can't raise them up, it will be more.
Nothing compared to what it would have been had we...
If we'd have hit one, it wouldn't have been very much fun today. Moving on to the...
Thank you all.
Yes,
thank everybody who had that little shovel and that little slur machine.
Let me comment that I know building in a downtown environment is very difficult. And this is the most compact site in a downtown area for a major construction project that I've ever seen. It points to the expertise that we hired in building this building. And as I recall, it wasn't just Gilbane. There was another part of that joint venture. Is that not correct?
Pegasus.
Pegasus.
They're also providing some project engineering, reviewing submittals and those scheduling, those type of things.
Well, you know, we spend an awful lot of time putting these teams together, and I'd kind of like for both parts of the team to get attaboys when they're
Yes, sir.
attaboys to be handed out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Medical examiner's office, there's a lot of reinforcement bar being tied together and a lot of concrete being poured. Thomas S. Byrne has completed the first, second, and third floors of the project. They have moved on to forming up the roof, and they should finish that in November. The concrete masonry block work is started on the west side, and the temporary roof on the connector building that connects the old and the new building should be complete in November or so. And Precinct 4 has already started the lime stabilization on the parking lot next door to the JPS site. That project's going very well. Onto the Civil Courts building, the project team would like to present the final exterior material selections to you for approval and the interior finishes and colors to you for review and approval on November 16th, if that's a good date, in a work session.
The only thing I would say is that if they're wanting a hopefully they're going to give us at least a little bit of time to look at it, and it's not going to be, we're going to present it to you on the 16th, and we want your answer on the 16th.
I think, Judge, we would like you to present the final material selection on the exterior, because we have submitted that to you in the past. It's the Texas pea granite.
You were going to paint that little thing at the top of it.
They will have that on the 16th.
Okay.
You're
Well, those
talking
colors-
about a work session on the 16th. That does not work for me.
Okay.
Well, those colors and stones and rocks and granite and all that, will they be brought up here, or will they be downstairs at the site?
We'll bring them to you, or the granite selections.
Okay. I like, just for whatever it's worth, I like the way you did the brick at the jail, where y'all had it outside, in an outside environment, where you could see it with sunlight and shade, and, and they were samples that were big enough that you could really tell what you were getting, even though I didn't agree with the brick color that was selected, but the process worked.
Okay.
Just a thought.
In the jail project, we were looking at different brick selections, different colors, and different grain sizes and those sorts of things. In this one, they've pretty well honed in on the granite that matches the 1895 courthouse. The same, it's actually from the same quarry and close to the same hill.
And I understand what you're saying there from that perspective, but how difficult would it be to still have a mock-up, just so we see the colors and something doesn't just jump out at us and say, it's not quite like the picture showed it was going to be.
We can do that.
I've gotten kind of leery of
I understand.
Yeah.
But I really do want to stress how important it is for me to see whatever color that air conditioning thing is going to be.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a good medium gray, Judge.
How much time do you need for your work session? I could do it before court, but I can't do it after.
About an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour at the most.
At 8?
We would like
8 or 9 would be fine, but I can't do it after court.
Well, and again, I would hopefully, I prefer the before, but I guess my ultimate deal is I would like to have it to where we have a week to kind of mull over it and then give you a vote. So if it's going to be due on the 16th, then I'd like to see it on the 9th. Or if it's going to be due on the 23rd, then the 16th is fine. I just don't want to walk in and then have to give an answer the same day as.
Mr. How's the 9th work for you for a preliminary presentation?
9th is fine.
Okay. Let me get back with the architects and see what we can do. Maybe we can do one on the 9th for a preliminary presentation on some interior finishes and such, and go ahead and figure out how we would handle a mock-up for the exterior materials, which will be later. We generally have direction from you on what type of materials. We'll go ahead and set the mock-up so you can do a final review on that.
That would be great.
Okay. That's all I have today on the projects. Thank you.
I think so. I don't know where, I think you got started.
Anything else?
That's all we have today.
Then we'll recess from open session and move to closed session to discuss items exempted under Texas Local Government Code 551.07, 1072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code, or something along that line. Where'd you lose it? You can't call yourself and find it?
It's not a phone.
She can't have two checks for us.
Having returned from closed session, we'll now address the following matters.
Thank you, Your Honor. We're requesting authorization to intervene on behalf of the county in the lawsuit that's listed under District Attorney item number 1.
So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
There being no further business, we're adjourned.